Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Be the One. Here on Talk Shop Live. Thank you, Talk Shop Live, for giving me this opportunity to bring this show here to you guys. I hope the information that I've been sharing with you guys have really been helping you. I'm excited. We got some good things to talk about. Remember, today is what? Soulful Reset. Okay, we're in a new month. November, we got one more month to go. Look, I was talking to my friends, and I was talking to my on my other show. Well, and I said, you guys, it's almost like October came in, it looked around, it made a little fuss, and then it packed up and left. That's how I feel. That's what October did, because it's like one blink of an eye and it's already gone. Look, you guys, in 3 months, my birthday will be here. You know? Oh, and today, and I've already told my husband we definitely had a deep conversation. Today is our anniversary. So I told him happy anniversary. Um, yeah, you guys, we'll talk marriage along another day, because I think it's a good conversation to have, and we'll talk about that another day. But today we're here, and we're going to be talking um, about uh, reclaiming our legacy. Let's talk about our legacy. What is your legacy? What is it? What does that mean to you? What are you leaving behind? We already know that's basically what legacy means. It means what you're leaving behind, right? So when we talk about what we're leaving behind, what are some of the things that you feel like you need to leave behind when it comes to family? I'm not basically talking about assets, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you as a person. What is your legacy about? What are the things that parts of your personality traits that you want your children, your girls, um, your granddaughters to take from you? What is it that you want them to grab out of your personality, that you know that they're going to share with other people or share with their children? Those are the things we're talking about. And sometimes we drift away from that. We drift away from who we are. You know what I'm saying? So when we drift away from who we are and what we want to carry forward, guess what happens? It's time for us to come back. So today, we're going to talk about that today, right? We're going to talk about reclaiming, and we're going to talk about some tips that we can do to reclaim um, our legacy, bringing everything back to home, okay? Because we've gotten away from home. We're also going to talk about our exciting November sale with our wrap dresses, legacy edition of our wrap dresses. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about journal prompts that are going to go along with us talking about legacy. All right. So as you can see, it's November, right? Some places it's already cold. Some places already start snowing. Well, here we haven't had that. We've had cool weather, but we haven't had any snow or anything like that. So we're still kind of comfortable. We're not complaining. I'm not complaining. I mean, we had to turn on the heat for a little bit, but not to the point where we've blown, the all out, everything has to be warm. I even keep it kind of warm in here sometimes. In the morning time, that's when it mainly gets cold, is in the morning for us. Then once of the day, the sun comes out, and usually the days are beautiful, beautiful fall days. And the leaves will not stop falling. If you would see my yard, my God. But it's good that my husband does all the outside maintenance. So it doesn't look as bad, but it looks beautiful to me when the leaves change and they start to fall to me. It reminds me of when I was young, living in New York, and we used to go and play in the leaves. The leaves would pile up, and we used to go to the parks and play in the leaves. That, to me, that was wonderful feelings. A sense of nostalgia just went through there, right? So let's talk about our personality traits when it comes to legacy. What type of personality traits that we want to instill in our children? Um, so some of the personality traits that I think of that comes to mind for me is having stamina, having power, being able to be boisterous, being able to live out loud. Do not feel like because you might be a little different, that it's wrong. Um, those are the types of, when it comes to personality, um, that I think I, I love, that I would love for that to touch the ideal of not being afraid, moving forward, with all the power and might you have. Fight every battle that needs to be fought. And understand this, every battle doesn't need to be fought. Sometimes you have to just walk away. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what, this is not for me. Sometimes we have to do that. And I know sometimes that's hard to do. Really, it is. It's very hard to do in certain situations. But you know what? You can do it. So your legacy, when it comes to who you are, it's what it is, how you lived your life, um, what you're leaving behind, because sometimes we say, well, you know what, you sound like grandma, or you sound like something mama would say. I find myself saying it to my husband. My mom had this knock that she used to do, and I'm gonna see if I can do it. Let me see. That was her knock, right? So the other day, my husband was in the kitchen, I think, and I heard it, and something just like went over me because he's never heard my mom knock like that before. But when he did it, and it's not no fancy or special knock or anything, that was just the way she always knocked. When he did it, I said, "Who is that knocking like that?" And he said, "Like what?" And he did it again. I said, "That's my mom's knock." He said, "Huh?" I said, "That's my mom's knock. That was her knock." And it just like, I mean, like something just, whew, like, wow, because I hadn't heard that knock in years. So I know when I say that, when I talk legacy, that's not something major, major. But to me, that was like, oh my God, that was her knock. And he's never heard it before. So how would he know to do that? So anyway, so to me, that is a legacy trait for me, okay? That she's here. She's around here. So for him to do that and never heard my mom knock like that, that tells me a lot. Okay. So to me, that was a legacy. That was just a little bit of legacy. I look at another example, um, was, uh, let's see. So this week, when I did my Substack post, if you guys ever want to follow me on Substack, SalitaM.substack.com. You can follow me over there. You can be a subscriber. And we'll get into that too. But I'm saying that because I want to share with you something. My mother was an activist. My mother was very much so involved in the neighborhood. Anything that had anything to do with the neighborhoods, my mom was very much so in it. Anything to do with the community, PTA, my mom was part of. We would, any event that came up, she made sure her daughters participated, even if we didn't want to participate. She made sure we participated in all the school plays, all anything that had to do with dealing with the community, bringing the community together. Her and it was his name. We used to call him Uncle JT. He had a liquor store. This is when I was living in New York, and so what he would do is, um, they would get a storefront, and they would literally open it up for kids during Halloween, so kids wouldn't go out on the street. They would have Halloween parties there. They wanted to keep the kids off the street. They didn't want the kids to get hurt, so everybody would gather at the store or the storefront, and we would have our Halloween parties there. And everybody showed up. We used to have so much fun. So my mom and her little crew, we call them her little crew, would get together and do all these different activities for our kids. So I'm saying that because that's something she instilled in me, the activism that she had and she held proudly of was the same activism I have and I love. And I mean, I love it to the end of doing the things that we've done and having the experience we've had. And I talked about in the post, I talked about the time when at the time, don't laugh at me, don't talk about my age, right? Richard Nixon was in office at the time, and at that time he was doing some of the things that your president doing now, closing down, defunding a lot of programs that helped impoverish neighborhoods. One of the things he was doing away with, he was trying to mess with the free lunch, free breakfast, I think, and then Head Start, because we had a lot of kids that were in Start. So a bunch of mothers and the activists, the groups that are around, came together and they rented buses. And we all got on these big Greyhound buses and we drove to Washington, D.C. and we protested in Washington, D.C. To me, I will never forget that moment. That was the most awesomest thing. And I was so proud of my mom, right? So when I think about that, that's where I get I was like, man, okay, that's where I get that from. Because my mom did it. That's where I've kind of built myself off of is my activism, my character, the tenacity, the wanting to see things done right and correct, and wanting people to be treated fairly. All of that comes into my personality from my mom. That's the legacy I want. And believe it or not, you guys, I have one son. And my son and I are very close. Um, Now, not all the time now, because we don't agree on everything. But guess what? That's what I instilled in him. He's activist. He is an activist just like his mom. And that's because when I did it, I took him with me. I taught him all those things. And then he learned on his own through some more proper training, going through different programs and stuff. So I taught him that. So I'm not one bit ashamed of my legacy. I've already known, I've watched it, I've seen it in action. So I'm very proud of him. And I'm saying that because I needed to give you guys an example when I talk about legacy. Um, Going and then we're talking about reclaiming it. When you get away from it, reclaiming it, bringing it back. I can look at my son and say, okay, I feel proud. I've done that. I've instilled that in him. And we have deep, long discussions about the things that he does. Because, he he's doing a whole different thing right now. I'm doing a whole different thing, but it's still on the same basis. It still has that foundation there. And I get that. And so when I get down and when I get discouraged, or when I feel like, am I doing enough? Have I done enough? I have to look at, just every now and then, go back. Go back. Go back and look at all the things that you've done. Go back and check out, just go down the list of things you've already accomplished. That's part of your legacy that you're leaving behind. And say, you know what, I ain't got no reason to be upset about that. I've done it. I've got that out the way. I've done it. And your small victories are so, so important. Your small victories are so important. They are so important. Regardless of what's going on, you guys, we have to come back to ourselves. Okay? We've got to come back. And I do understand there's a lot of outside things that are distracting us. The external world is taking a lot out of us. This phone, okay? These phones and these computers and that internet can have us so torn up in the inside. And it's getting us away. It knows how to pull the correct energy away from us and get us distracted from thinking and spending time within ourselves. And I'm not saying go within yourself and forget about all the things that you've already done or what you're doing now. I'm saying it gets us away from who we are, who we're rooted in. What is our foundation? Always go back to where did I come from? Where am I going? Okay? And what is it going to take for me to get to those places? That's what you have to put in your mind. Go back. Go back. Keep telling yourself, I have to go back. And don't stay. Don't stay back. Don't linger back. Because sometimes when you linger too long back there, you start getting comfortable. You start taking off your shoes. You start getting mentally comfortable in where you were. So you look back. If there's a lesson to be learned, you learn that lesson and you come forward and say, okay, I packed this up. I'm taking this with me. This is going to be part of my legacy. But you have to go back and look and see if it's there. And look, sometimes we put things down. Remember, I said earlier, we drift away. Well, we put things down. We put down our shields, we put down our armor, and we get comfortable in the fight. Yeah, we get comfortable in the battle. We might win one thing, but we don't go back. We don't go and say, okay, could I strategize this differently? Could I have done this differently? No, we don't do that sometimes. Once we win something, okay. Our guard gets, we let our guards down, and then you wonder why you're back in the same situation. So, did you learn from your victory? Did you learn from your loss? And that's what we have to do. I'm not saying life is a big battle. Please do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that you got to go through life with your dukes up all the time. I'm saying the thing that come to us unexpected, things that we're not expected to happens. Okay, and it catches us off guard, right? And we don't realize what's going on around us, or what's going on, and why is the situation happening right now. We get so caught up, we can't get comfortable, is what I'm saying. When you're living your life, live your life, enjoy your life. Okay, don't be afraid. Okay, and remember what you're doing. You're setting examples, because that's what your legacy is the examples that you're setting. Do you want your child to go through life being nervous about everything, being afraid of everything, being afraid to breathe, being afraid to live, afraid to go places? Do you want to raise your children like that? No, you don't. You don't want to raise your children in the mindset that excuse my dogs. Um, um, hold up. Let's see if I can calm them down just a minute. Give me a second. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard me. I got a little frustrated. See, I got a little frustrated. I apologize for that. Um, but yeah. So as I was saying, um, so you have to you don't want your child to grow up and not feel like they validated. You don't want them to grow up because again, our kids actually looked at us, and they actually act like us. They are just like us. Okay, there are many. When you hear somebody say, "Oh, that's just a mini me," well, that's literally what they are, because they pick up all of your habits. So, what are you going to be instilling in your kids? Are you going to instill in them how to love people, how to be fair to people, how to care for people, how to be there as a friend? Are you going to teach them all that, or are you going to teach them all the negative things that comes into that? Okay? Think about it from that standpoint. Are you going to be able to do all those things? Are you going to be able to leave that behind? Okay? Are you going to be able to And look, this is not just for the mothers, this is for the fathers too, because fathers also instill in our daughters, okay, and our sons, how they would like to they're also in the sense of setting examples for them in their personalities. And sometimes parents, you got to remember now, sometimes when you're split, okay, those kids still pick up your ways, okay, they still go through the same things that you guys go through. Okay. They hurt just like you do. Okay. So sometimes we have to be very, very careful of what we say around our children about each other. Okay. Because you can be creating a scenario or a mindset for your children to feel a certain way about their mom or dad. So we have to be careful of what we're saying to them because that affects them. You got to remember the child comes from you. So they're just another part of you. Okay? So you have to keep that in mind. If they're a part of you, then that has a lot to do with how they feel. And when you look at your child and you're like, how did you know that? How can you say that? Because they've been watching you. They're your legacy. And that's why it's important that you pay attention to how you talk to them, how you react to the things that they do as children, because we all have done them. Okay, it's not too much we haven't done as children that our kids don't pick up and do the same thing, right? So we definitely have to keep that in mind when it comes to leaving that legacy, having that power that we want to give to them. I listen to a lot of little young kids, and they're very, very highly intelligent. You've been wondering, well, how did they get? Because quite sure they've sat around and heard those conversations in places that they're not supposed to be, probably, you know, at the kitchen table, mom talking to her friends, dad talking to his friends, right? And the words and the expressions and stuff, they look just like you look just like your dad, or you look just like your mom, you know. So you hear certain things they're saying, they get it from you. So what are you instilling in them? Okay, are you instilling? And I'm not saying everybody's perfect, please don't get, I'm trying to say that I'm just basically saying when we are out there teaching our children certain things, or not even teaching them, they're just picking up your habits, just picking up your, you don't even have to tell them to do certain things, they're watching you all the time. So you have to look at yourself sometimes and ask, okay, what am I leaving behind? And majority of time, lots of times, the children spend more time with the grandma and grandpa, right? So they're going to pick up some of those. Like I've seen like little kids that have old people, they call them old souls, right? So they have these old souls, right? And that's because grandma and grandpa has been in their lives probably more than mom and dad. With mom and dad working like they're doing, grandma and grandpa are the babysitters, so they pick up all their ways. So when they're having a conversation, because little kids look so cute when they're talking to their mom and dad, and they've been around grandma and grandpa, and you hear them talk, the stuff that they're saying come out of their mouth, you're like, man, this child, no, it's cute, but you have to pay attention. This is what grandma and grandpa is leaving as a legacy. And so when he grow up into an adult, they'll say those things to their children, right? They'll say those same things to their children and like, wow, how you know how great grandpa used to say that all the time, so you know that they're paying attention and they're all these things are, so that's why you have to get back to that. You have to reclaim it, bring it back, the power, the boldness, asking the right questions, being able to stand on your own. Okay, you bring all that back. And have you ever sat around and listened to your grandma and grandpa talk about old days? Used to do with my mom, used to do with my grandma and grandpa. Sit around and talk about how things used to be. And then you tell the story, and then they tell the story. You hear the story, one, legacy. Legacy. Even in your actions, not only just in your talk, But in your actions, the things that you do, it's legacy. So come back and reclaim it. And don't be ashamed of where you've come from. Don't be ashamed of all the things that you learned, right? You might not have learned them on the same level as everybody else. That's fine, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But as long as you learned them, that's the biggest part. As long as you learn them, you are able to get that lesson, okay? That little nugget of information or a little nugget of knowledge that you didn't think would be important. So I definitely want to do that. I want you guys to just sit back and think about all the things that you've already learned, and think about all the things that you carry from your parents, right? And how much of it have you um, given or you've passed along to your children? Um, my son grew up around me and his mom, his grandmother. So he'll say certain things because guess what? He got it from his grandma. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying it in a way, my son's a grown man, but I can imagine the things that he was going to tell his kids, right? Because my mom was a clown. She was a clown. She was funny, but she was also serious. So I think he's picked up both her ways too. And with the combination of us together, oh man, it's hilarious at times, right? It is very, very funny. And then also, it's not only just mom and dad, your aunties and your uncles. You pick up their ways, right? I think I'm trying to figure out. A couple of the comedians said they would watch their uncles, and they picked up on the way their uncles act, and they put them in their acts, right? So they watched them, they emulated them, they talked about them. So when I say family ancestral, yeah, I'm not just talking about grandma and grandpa and mama and dad. I'm talking about your uncles, your aunties, your great uncle, whoever you were around and you found something fascinating about them, or the conversations they've had and how they solved problems, right? How they dealt with all the craziness that was going on in their world at the time. All of that comes back. All of that is embedded in us, okay? All of us is, we breathe it in, we think about it, it becomes part of us, right? Okay, not only with the bad thing, I mean, good things, yeah, we pick up some bad things also too in the midst of all of this, right? But it's all right. I promise you, it is all right. It's nothing wrong with having that, because the bad and good does go together. I mean, they have to balance themselves off, right? I mean, you can balance it out with all good, you can balance it out with bad and good. But understanding and recognizing it. If it's bad, how can you correct it? You know, um, people talk about the way that our parents used to beat us. It's not like, we don't do that. Back then, you didn't do that. What they call it, soft parenting, I guess is what it's called. I don't know. We didn't do that. My mom whooped us, okay, with whatever she got her hands on, whether it was a belt, shoe, frying pan. I'm just kidding. Extension cord, yes. But I mean, whatever she got her hands on, and she whooped us. It didn't kill us. We're still here. You know, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to. Please don't think I'm justifying. I'm not justifying at all. I know now the way we were whooped back then would be a child abuse case or two or three. I know that, right? I am not encouraging any mothers to whoop their kids the way that we got whooped back then. But I'm just saying that it took place. We're still here. They say that when you do that to a child, it messes with their psyche, their mental, emotional, and they're making them feel unsafe. And I don't know. I can't vouch for that. I just know I'm a stronger person But I had to go through some stuff. Had nothing to do with how my mom spanked us or whooped us. It was what I had to go through as the experiences in my life and how I adjusted to them. Okay? She never said she didn't love us. She never didn't take care of us. She didn't abandon us. She took care of us. She wanted us to be the best that we could be. So I didn't hold any of that against her. Did I almost take some of that with me when I came to raise my son? Will never tell you he got beat with a extension cord. Um, a belt maybe, but not to that extent. So what I'm saying is, even though my sister's funny, my sisters are funny. My sisters have daughters. Now my oldest sister probably took after my mom. My sister next to me, she did, but my sister that me and her kind of grew up because we are right behind each other. She was like to me a flower child with her kids. That's what she reminded me of. And they're beautiful young ladies. Oh, beautiful, funny, just like their mom. It's my sister that passed away. She was the clown of the family. So she went. What she left behind was that nurturing, that mothering, that soft parenting. She left that with her kids. That's the legacy she left with her kids. That soft parenting. And I'm like, I used to just laugh at her because I would make fun of how she did it. But I understand because she knew what we went through as children when it came to spankings and stuff. It was different. But I would make fun of her. I would definitely make fun of her because I was like, I don't know how you could do it. But they weren't bad. It wasn't like they were bad girls or anything. It's just that I don't like, and I say, mom wouldn't did it like that, and she'll just laugh and say, I know. But it would be so funny because she would talk to them and she would say something funny when she should be mad at them, but she doesn't. So she turned it into a joke, right? And I was like, you should have spanked her, but you should have. That didn't work with my sister. Um, she wasn't really hardcore on her kids at all. So, like I said, she was one of them soft parenting techniques. And I was raising a son, so I thought in my mind I needed to be harder on him because he was a boy. Um, you know, that was just how I thought, right? So her kids are the same way now. Her kids, they do that to their children. They're just like her, and that's her legacy. That is her legacy. I'm quite sure. They'll consider my grandnephew. I think they're called grandnephew. Um, I'm quite sure he's, but she talks to him just like my mom did her. I mean, like my sister did her. So that's why I'm saying, what you do with your children, how you do your children, the actions you take with your children, the conversations you have with your children, definitely it shows who you are, right? And how you solve problems. They'll sit back and watch you go through something and see how you come out on the end. See how you solve that problem or that situation you're in. If you're in an abusive relationship, they watch that. And what happens is, not many a times, but there are times where young men grow up and they don't have no respect for women because dad has taught them not to respect women because he's watched how dad didn't respect mom and vice versa. Do not think it's not any difference with women. So that's why I'm saying when we talk about legacy, especially when we talk about personality traits, okay, comes to legacy. What are you passing down? Are you careful in what you're passing down? Is it always negative or is it always positive? Is it funny? Is it sad? What is it? Are you, like I said earlier, are you raising a nervous wreck Or are you're raising someone who could stand on their own, being independent? When things get hard, sit down and think about it before you make any action. Are you teaching them that? Because again, a child is going to emulate you. What you do, how you do it, when you do it, that's what a child is going to see. And so that's why it's important to look at what you are leaving behind. What you decide to leave behind. We talk about our grandmas, we talk about our grandpas, talk about our aunties and stuff. What did they instill in you? And sometimes you don't get nothing from them. I mean, sometimes you just don't. You don't get anything from them. So um, there's someone else in your family structure that you find yourself attached to and watch and want to be an example of. You know, it's what are you taking time out and teaching? And sometimes you don't even have to teach them. They're just watching you. They don't actually, sometimes you don't even know you're teaching them anything. They're watching you. And some children will tell you, I got that. Where you get that from? I got that from grandma. When did you hear grandma say that? When me and grandma have conversations. Or when me and grandpa go for a walk, he tells me that. You have to be, I'm telling you, you have to pay attention to what your children is listening to and how you act around your children. It's so important because they are the little yous. Legacy is not always about, like I said earlier, it's not about the access, having material things. Legacy is about you, who you are. Who do you put in the forefront? Okay? Who do you see yourself as? Right? And claiming that and picking it up and say, okay, this is what I want to show to the world. This is who I am. This is who I am and at the same time, who I am becoming, because you don't stop there. You continue to grow. You don't get settled in your ways and don't want to learn and do better, or not even if it's not even about doing better, but just learning and opening yourself up to you, not to anybody else, but opening up yourself to you. Understand and discover the new things that you learn and see how that can work on the people that you're around, or the people that you're, I mean, like your children, your family members. What are you doing to encourage them, right, to be better people? And that's what you have to look at. That's what you have to look at. What are you doing to make those happen, those situations happen, right? And it's, look, none of this is hard to do. It's just that take that time out and just start watching the things you do in front of your kids and your grandchildren and your nephews and nieces. Just watch what you do. Watch the conversations you're having in front of them. Yeah, watch the conversations you're having in front of them because they're listening, and that's being packed into their memory. So your legacy, what you leave behind, is important, but how you live now in the present moment gets you to your legacy. So you have to be able to make sure you're showing them all the things you want them to see that are good, even if it's bad. But how do you fix it where it doesn't have to look negative? How do you figure out if there is a bad situation? How do you make that situation in a sense that, okay, we're not going to look at it as a bad situation. We're going to work through it, right? And see where else, where we can fix it. A bad situation can be a way that you can solve a problem, right? So are you a good problem solver? Do you have, excuse me, do you have good solutions? That's the way you can take care of a negative situation. And don't always think of it as being negative. It could be a lesson that needs to be learned, right? Can you turn it into that? Yeah, you can. Guess what? My auntie showed me how to solve this. She told me I could do this, 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 this. You think it's a good idea? That's what my auntie told me to do. That's what my uncle told me to do. And I'm going to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? They left that in them. They showed them something, and now they're going to use that. And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. We have to look at what we're leaving behind because we know that we're all not going to be here forever. We already know that. And it is important about what you leave behind. It's very important. Okay? So let's talk about some legacy journal prompts to go along with what we just talked about. Okay? Um, Now, before we do that, let's talk about some tips that we can do to get into um, our legacy rituals, right? Things that we can do to help us continue to work on, if we're working on where we want to be with our legacy. These are the things that we can do. First of all, journaling is a ritual, a great ritual. I journal all the time. Um, it helps with you documenting your growth, okay? How you handle your grief, right? Gratitude to build a having a living archive. I just decided that my journaling. This is just me, just a little bit off the. This is a little sidebar. I'm gonna have all my journal. I'm sorry, I'm laughing before I should. I'm gonna have all my journals burnt when I pass away. I'm gonna tell my husband if I pass away before him, hey pumpkin, I'm going to definitely have all my journals burnt because I don't need nobody to see what I put in my journal. I'm gonna have my shadow work journal burnt. I'm gonna have all my law of attraction burnt. I'm gonna have them all burnt. You don't need to write. You don't need to read all that. No, you're not looking at it. I'm telling my son, don't you dare. Don't you read anything out loud. Don't you try to record or take. No, 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 no. Um, let's talk about affirmation. So we're talking about journaling, affirmation routines we can do. Speaking power over yourself. Let me say that again. Speaking power over yourself every day. Every day, speak power over yourself. Right? And you could say this: I am the legacy. I am the proof. Let me say that again. This is an affirmation. It's powerful too. I am the legacy. I am the proof. I'm gonna have to put that on a t-shirt. That don't steal it. That's going on a doggone t-shirt. Yes, yes. Even the way we cook, believe it or not, this is part. This is part of our rituals, our what we've learned from our parents, what we've learned from our ancestors. Um, Cooking, preparing a meal that maybe grandma fixed, right? And I know people don't believe in this, um, cooking and telling stories like and also doing making it where you're doing it with the community, right? Have the community get together and and everybody get an old ancestral dish, right? And you sit around and you still tell stories, right? Constantly reminding of where you came from, where your root came from, where your foundation is, right? That's what you want to do, right? And I'm quite sure families do that all the time, but not just only with your families, do it with your friends, do it with your community, right? Get together with some people that's in your community that you deal with. because everybody don't deal with everybody in their community. And say, hey, you guys, I don't want to say potluck, but let's call this our ancestral meal. Each family make a meal that their grandparents or great great grandparents or some recipe that's in the family, let them make it and let us all come together, right? And talk about stuff, talk about those, and make sure the kids are sitting down listening to all the old stories. I'm not talking about no dirty stories. I'm talking about stories they told about when they were young, right? I mean, I think that's a great idea. The next thing we'll talk about our wardrobe, the clothes that we wear, dressing with purpose, right? Making sure each piece that you put on, right, I told you, I'm all about having a story. It has a message behind each piece you put on, right? I'm just saying that I think this is an awesome idea, right? Um, and then let's talk about energy cleansing. I am a big person. I am an energy advocate, good energy advocate. I will say it in a heartbeat. We have to make sure that we're doing everything we can to cleanse out our energy. Because again, energy travels, energy transfers. Okay. Um, so one thing it said was do sage, get some sage to remove any negative energy. The different sounds, right? The music you hear, you um, and then sometimes just being silent, okay? Removing, cleansing that energy, meditating, right? Removing those negative vibes and those negative spirits. So I could say spirits, and negative energy out of your area, right? Out of your area. I have to figure out another way to do mine simply because I have clothes in my office and I don't want them to get all different smells, and especially if I'm selling. I mean, I have to do all So you have to be careful of if you have clothing and you're doing what I do. Don't do all that. You can't do that right now. Wait till you get rid of everything, and then you can do it that way. Clean out your room, and then do it that way. Right? Believe it or not, I told you guys I do Florida water. Okay, I keep it on my desk, and it has a beautiful smell to it, and I'll spray it every now and then. I wipe down my floors. I wipe down my desk. I put it on my hands. You can even take a bath in this. Florida water, right? Because it removes the negative energies away from you, right? Or out of, oh, yeah, away from you. So that's what I do. I'm not saying, oh my God, do it. You got to do it. I'm just saying what I use. And I use it faithfully. Matter of fact, this is like my second bottle already because I definitely use it. Um, and you can find Florida water. I think Walmart carries that. I usually order mine on Amazon, but you can find it in some Walmarts, not all of them, but in some of them you can find it. But again, you can find it on Amazon too. Um, Also, do some legacy check-ins. Okay, um, do a weekly reflection of how your week went. What in your week that you learned something from, something that you can take and share with others. Okay, um, look at how whatever your mission is, write down the actions you took and did it reflect your mission, your ultimate, your values, right? Your mission statement. Everybody, you don't have to have a business or anything that's a mission statement. Okay. A life purpose, right? How did that fit in to your week, right? And that's what you definitely want to do. Okay. Without a doubt, you definitely want to do that, right? Okay. So let's talk about um, when you find yourself also drifting away. What can you do to bring yourself back? Because we talked about getting away from who we are and what we are, right? And how we want the world to see us, right? And how legacy We talk about our personality traits, our actions. We talked about that. So let's talk about now, when there's a time when we get away from all of that, right? When we find ourselves in positions where, you know what, hell, I'm not even gonna worry about my legacy. I'm gonna do it. We get away from it. We get lazy, right? What do we do? First of all, and I love this. I love this. Pause. Be able to pause without shame. When we say pause, what do you mean? Pause just means that it's good to just stop for a moment. Pick a time out of your week that just for a moment you're just going to fusa, okay? Not do anything, right? Right? Just stop doing just stop doing everything. Stop thinking and just take some deep breaths and say, you know what, I'm good for right now. If you can do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, pause. That gives you that time to ground yourself, to get yourself back to who you are, right? Because I've been outside myself several times. And when I do pause, I kind of feel shame. It's a natural feeling. Shame is not a bad feeling. I felt shame and I felt guilt because I allowed myself to get out of my character. I got out of my personality. I got out of, and it's nobody's fault. It was me. I allowed something to trigger me to get me out of my element of who I am, or who I say, who I box myself into being, right? Revisit your why, okay? What did you promise yourself? That's the why. What did you promise yourself? What did you promise your community? What did you promise your ancestors? Because, we don't think about that. But yeah, what did you promise your mom and dad that you would do when you got a certain age? Or as you were growing up? Mommy, I told you I would not. I promised my mom that I wouldn't have any kids. Isn't that a weird one? I remember sitting down having this conversation with her. And I said, Mom, you don't have to worry about me because I promise you, I'm not having no kids. I will not have no kids. And she was the one who told me I was pregnant. That's funny, right? Yeah, she was the one who told me I was pregnant. I didn't know at the time, but she said I was. And then it says audit your rituals. When we talk rituals, um, we're talking about the things that we're doing, our things that we do habitually that helps us be the people that we are, right? So when you audit your rituals, you're looking at the things that work for you and things that no longer serve you. Don't keep doing them. Don't keep bringing them up. If they're not serving you and making you a better person, there's no need to keep holding on to them. Let them go. So, yeah, you have to do your inventory and your auditing of your rituals. Okay. And you have to see which ones help you to evolve, to get, to move out of where you're at. Okay. Ascend, bringing yourself up. Okay. Level, what they call it, leveling up, right? You have to be able to recognize those things. If they're not working, don't do them. Okay. Move on. Do something different. Create a ritual reboot. Okay. Create a ritual reboot. Design a new practice, right? That reflect where you are now. Figure out something that you can do. Like we said, rituals or practices that you're doing. Find something that you can use at the present moment, where you're at now in your life, on your journey. Where you're at right now, is there something else I can do to continue to get me to move up, to move forward, to do the things that I need to do, to make me a better person? Because you got to remember, you just audited. So if you just audited your rituals, you have to add more in, right? So do that. Find the ones, find a practice that works for you that you have not used before. No, find a practice that you want to work with, okay, that you haven't used before. And reflect on that. Once you start doing it, reflect on it and write down and see the results of how do you feel now after you've done that. Say you want to try something for a week, okay? There's something, your practice that you want to try for a week. Try it that week, and at the end of the week, write down your reflection on how that new practice worked for you. And if it didn't, then you go back to the drawing board and find something else you would like to try. It's never ending, you guys. When you're working on yourself and trying to be a better person and trying to do all the things that you want for yourself, there's no limit to it. And remember, this is about you, not nobody else. This is not about anybody else. This is all about you. Okay? And that's how you have to look at it. Don't be worried about what other people think. And, that's not relevant. It's not relevant at all. Okay? What's relevant is how everything that you're doing affects you. Okay? Remember, everything is not going to work. Okay? Everything is not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. Okay? This is not about trying to make you a perfect person, first and foremost. Let you know that right there. This is not about you being a perfect person. This is about you being you. This is about you being authentic with yourself, not with anybody else. Because right now we're not caring what anybody else think. It's about what you think about yourself and what you want to leave behind. So there's no perfection in anything I'm saying. I will never push that agenda that you need to be perfect and you need to be this way. Thank you. No, be yourself. I'm saying be yourself. That's all I'm saying. And there's many ways of doing that. But you got to start with you. You got to recognize you. I'm saying be bold in what you do. I'm saying live your life out loud. I'm saying there's no limitations on who you are. I'm not saying be disrespectful to people. I'm not saying have a nasty attitude with people. I'm saying be the best person that you can be. And having an attitude and being disrespectful and mean and uppity, because some of us do get in that mode that we're better than everybody else. We're not. And I'm not saying that to put you down or anything. I'm saying we're not. We all got some shortcomings and flaws, right? So you're not perfect. And I'm saying be authentic to yourself. First and foremost, love yourself with all the hiccups, okay? With all the hiccups, with all the shortcomings. Own up to who you are. Accountability, responsible. Because nobody else can be responsible for you. You have to be responsible for yourself, right? And that's important. That's the important things. Understanding who you are, bringing yourself back to you. That's important. I talk about myself because I am the walking example of me. I'm far from perfect. I never try to come on any of my platforms and say I'm perfect. You just got to follow everything I do. No, I will never say that because that's not who I am. Because guess what? Sometimes I struggle being me. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. And being on all these different platforms and showing me to everybody sometimes can be very overwhelming. But I know my story is important like everybody else's story is. And I feel that my story can help somebody else. And that's one of the main driving factors behind doing what I do, is that my stories can help other people. And I'm not putting myself down, but there's nothing really. I'm just an ordinary person with problems. I got everything everybody else got. I never will put myself above anybody else because that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Not to say that I don't think highly of myself. I'm just saying I'm just like everybody else. I have problems. I have mental issues. I do the same thing everybody else do. There's nothing, I promise you guys, there's nothing that makes me better than anybody else. But what makes me better to me is when I can be honest with myself and look at myself and say to myself, love you first and all you. Love yourself unconditionally. Take the good with the bad. Celebrate the good and learn from the bad. Celebrate the good and learn from the bad. Because life is nothing but a big old school, constantly learning. It's a training center, right? And our choices determine what we're going to learn in that moment. Our choices determines what and how and why we're going to learn something different. So when we talk about our legacy, that's what we're talking about. How we react to things, how we say things, how we focus on things, how things come through us, and how it comes out in our minds, out of our hearts, and out of our mouths. And the actions we take. What triggers us, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, what makes us confused, what makes us scared. And understanding you can't change other people. You can't. You cannot change how people react to you. You can't. The only thing you can change is how you react to people and what they say and what they do. That's the only thing you can change. You cannot covet someone else's reactions to the things you say or do. You don't have no control over that. If they're being disrespectful, step away from them, especially when they do it more than once. Right? If you're being disrespectful, they have a right to say, I'm not tolerating you being disrespectful to me, just like you have a right to tell them the same thing. But you cannot control them and say you're going to, you can't control them. You can suggest to them that I don't like the way you talk to me, da 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 da, but you cannot make them, because the more you deal with them and the more they don't change, then why are you still dealing with them? Remember we said audit. You need to audit things in your life that's not doing you any good and making you feel bad about yourself. You need to audit that. Get that out of there. Okay? So that's the reason why I just said what I said, because I needed, that was there, right? So if you feel the need that, okay, And if you're at a point where, you know what, I'm just gonna not pay attention. I'm just going to do all the things I want to do. I'm going to say all the things I want to do. I'd say, I'm not even caring if anybody's watching me. I'm not caring if the kids watching me. I'm not caring about nothing. I'm going to act the way, just don't have no control over yourself, period. Well, let's not be there. Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to reignite what we need to do. Okay. So first of all, remember I said earlier about rebooting and finding another practice. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to find another practice that we're going to be working with. Okay. Um, don't overdo yourself. Okay. Um, don't pick a practice that is going to have you stressed out if you don't do it. Okay. You know how we get, oh, I got to, no, it's got to be done just like this. Don't stress yourself. Find something that's less stressful. Okay. That you would consider a ritual. Make sure it's not stressful. Okay. Nothing else. Don't make it stressful. That adds on. Right. Be able to share your ritual with someone that is actually supporting you. Okay. Don't just tell anybody. Don't tell your coworkers if that coworker is not a support system for you. Okay. Share your ritual with someone that you know that are supporting you and it's on your side, right? Um, this is your way that if you can trust them, then it can go to you can be able to kind of step out and tell other people, right? You want to have your community of people that are around you that support you. And then and again, when you're doing these things, you got to remember you're teaching other people how to do it. Okay? So keep that in mind. Um, use post-its, okay, to write down if it's say it's a affirmation, right? The affirmation I gave you earlier was I am the proof. No, it says I am the legacy, I am the proof. Okay. Put it on the post-it note, right? Okay. Um, believe it or not, some people have altar spaces that they put little things on that's a resemblance of everything, has a is an example of everything that they believe in, right? Um, that's a great thing to do. We talked about journal, having a legacy journal. All right, keep it written down. This is ways that you can keep yourself grounded. Constant reminding of what you are trying to um, make sure you're putting out there, right? Um, again, celebrate your small wins. What did I say? Learn from the losses and celebrate the wins, right? Whether they're big or small. Um, and take each one of those things and start stacking them in your mind. Doesn't have to physically do them, but stack them in your mind as bricks, as you building something, right? The different things that you're trying to do to create a way that your legacy is out there, that is showing everything, that you're showing up, right? And being that person that you're supposed to be. So then we'll talk about an affirmation and we're going to close on that before we get into our journal prompts and then we're going to move forward. Okay. So this is an affirmation that you can say. And again, you can I probably need to put it in the chat. Give me a second here. So it says, I am the architect of my legacy, right? My rituals are the blueprint. Oh, I love that. I refocus with power, right? And not apology. Oh, that is, I love that one. I got to say that one again. Damn, you're good, Salita. I am the architect of my legacy. My rituals are my blueprint. I refocus with power and not apology. Woo! Yeah. Okay, I got to put this in. I got to put it in. And I'm definitely going to put that on the, look, I need to put that on my mirror, right? So let's talk about that one real quick. Oh, I am so, let's see if I can get this down in the chat. Okay, this is our affirmation. We haven't started on our prompts yet. We'll get to them in just a second here. Okay, take that off. There we go. Okay. It says, I am the architect. Mm, mm, mm. I am the architect of my legacy. Mm. I am the architect of my legacy. My rituals, right, are the blueprint. Mm, mm, mm. Lordy, Lordy. Y'all don't know. When I be writing stuff, I be writing it. I don't know if it sound right. But boy, when I go back and read it, like, oh man, wait a minute. I refocus. Did I write that? I refocus with power. Mm, 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 mm. I refocus with power and not apology. I'm not apologizing. I'm just going to be me. Woo! I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. So if you want that, you got it. Take this off here. There we go. Okay. So now let's go over our journal prompts. Again, you guys, if you want one of our journals, our digital downloadable journals, okay, because you got plenty of journal prompts already, right? We've gone over, we're on our, we should be over on 20, we should be on 24 now. We should have almost about 24 of them now, right? You can find my downloadable journals on youcan'tclipmywings.com. I put it in the description. You can also get a free one, the one that costs $9.99. You can get a free one if you become a paid subscriber on our Substack. Okay? Like I said, I've already given them out. Our monthly newspaper is getting ready to come out for our paid subscribers. So looking forward to getting that out to you guys. So if you want to become a paid subscriber, definitely go over there and do that. Or like I said, or you can purchase one of our um, I can't even say the word, downloadable journals over on You Can't Clip My Wings. If you go and shop rituals, it is in there that you will find it. All right. So let's get into these prompts, right? So our legacy journal prompts. The first one is going to be, what rituals have I inherited inherited from my ancestors? Okay. And how do they show up in my daily life? I like that. Okay. Let's say this is talking about your lineage, your lineage. We're talking about name some of the practices. So we're going to say name some of your practices or the practices. Okay. And claim the power. the power that they have. Okay. Number 2, where have I drifted from my legacy? And what ritual can help, can help me return? Okay. No shame, just truth. And then it says identify the gap and build a bridge. Number 2. These some long ones, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, number 3. Let's see here. Number 3 is, what does a legacy I guess, you know what? I could actually do this before we come on. I'll have to learn how to do that. I'm proud of look, feel, and sound like. I like that. Get sensory. Describe it in detail. And make it real. Okay. Number 4 is, what ritual I need to start this week. Yeah. To align with my purpose. Keep it simple. One action that you can do. One intention. One shift. That's all it takes. That you can start this week. And maybe we can share it Wednesday. If you start one ritual, okay? Number 5, which is the last one. Who am I becoming through my rituals? And this is where you do your audit. And what does she need from me today? Mm. Needs from me today. Okay. It says, speak to your future self. Yes. Speak to your future self. She's waiting for you. Mm, mm, mm. Ooh, Lord. She's waiting for you to show up. I love it. I love it. I love that 100% for you. That's how you say it. I love it for you. Definitely. All right. Let's go over them again. Number one is, what rituals I have inherited from my ancestors and how do they show up in my daily life? Um, Name the practices and claim the power. Number two, where have I drifted from my legacy and what rituals can help me to return? No shame, just truth. Identify the gap and bridge and build the bridge. Bring it back together. Number three says, what does a legacy I'm proud of? What does a legacy that I'm proud of look, feel, and sound like? Get sensory. Know what it feels like, hear it, feel it inside you, and what does it look like? And it says, describe it in detail and make it real. Can't beat that. Number four says, what ritual do I need to start this week to align with my purpose? Right? Keep it simple, one action, one intention, and one shift. Simple as that. Number five, who am I becoming through my rituals? And what does she need from me today? Speak to your future self. She's waiting for you to show up. That's wonderful. Awesome. I love that. I love that. Okay. Those are our prompts. So I would like to talk to you guys about, now that we've gotten that out the way. Okay, so we have a November sale going on. It's 16% off of our dresses, right? We've I thought it was so important that we do this sale because I'm probably going to do another one for December. And it's probably going to have a little bit more to it. So our dresses now are on sale for 59 bucks, right? Um, if you go into the shop, all right, and you see one you like, definitely pick it up. Make sure that you're paying attention to all the different styles. These are not just the only styles we have. We have several different designs. Okay, I'm saying styles, but different designs. Same dress, but different designs. Make sure you pay attention to that. Um, See one that you like. Um, I've got them now, and I have them in red, purple, because some people don't need, don't want all those different, colors. They don't like all the fanciness. They just want a plain dress. A black one. We have black, gray. We do have a couple of more two-tone dresses. We have the pink and yellow, and then we have the black and gray that are two-toned. But the other ones have, you have ones that have some more abstract designs on it. We have one that has blue, brown, and I think that's white. Okay. And then we have the purple, blue, red, pink, green, and black and gray. So you have plenty of colors um, to choose from. They make great Christmas gifts, you guys. For 59 bucks, you cannot beat that. Um, I think It's important that, you get quality stuff. I really do. I think it's very important that my products are quality, um, because I don't want to just throw anything at you guys and say, okay, buy this. I'm begging you to buy this. No, I'm making sure, because that's why I wear mine, right? I got some more coming in. All right. I ordered some more from my original design. So I'm having them come in. I just ordered them. So they should be coming in. So you'll see other dresses like the ones we have here. You see, I gave her another hairstyle. That's the excellent thing about having wigs. You can change them up anytime. So she kind of looked like, when I said, I'm glad I took the other one. I could have curled that other one because that's actually human hair, another one, but I didn't. I said, let me just switch her up, give her a little shorter haircut. Now she kind of, me and her got the same hairstyle almost. And you see, we switch up our dresses, like we take turns wearing dresses until I get the other ones in. When I get the other ones in, we're going to switch up again. But I want to make sure you guys know this is going to be probably my uniform for this show for sure. Um, and probably going to be my uniform for my other show too. It's easy. I mean, I could just put it on. I don't have to do anything extra. Put my makeup on, put my little jewelry on, and keep rolling. And come on here and show you guys all this great stuff, right? But yeah, definitely, you guys check out this store over here. I knew that light was going to do that. Check out this store over here, and you can also go to You Can't Clip My Wings, because the same items are over there. That was just my original page. If you go to You Can't Clip My Wings, that is my original page. And you go to Shop Rituals, you'll see everything that I have over there mainly. Only thing I don't have in this shop over here is my digital downloads, for the journals. That's the only thing you don't have over here. I have coloring books over there, adult coloring books. Um, I have, I think I got a couple of workbooks over there. So you guys, all this, I mean, whatever you need is there, you know. And if you need me, just set up a session. We can talk. Um, I guess that's how you say it. But if you want to change in your life, we got a new year coming in, 2026. We do not know what to predict how 2026 is going, because 2025 was something else, right? And I know a lot of people like, I'm ready for this to be over with. Nah, take your time, baby, because there's still some plenty of messages are left in 2025, right? That you want to learn, that you want to take with you, okay? When you go into 2026. So there's still some stuff you need to learn, right? Don't be in such a hurry to move into that next role, okay? I'm telling you. I'm still kind of learning myself. I'm kind of looking at everything. I'm like, oh, golly, this is what's going on? Oh, man, okay. All right. So, so we all got to do that a little bit. Sometimes, I'm serious. You just all got to do this. But yeah, so you guys take advantage of purchasing one of our dresses. Um, Also, like, think about it. You can get it for your sisters. You can get it from, and look, it's under $100. Come on. Don't you think that'd be a great gift for somebody? Right? It's under $100. Okay? Right? But I want to tell y'all something. I think I talked about the prices of these dresses um, from Diane Van Versten, because she still sells her. Well, I'm not saying she does directly, her, but her dresses are still out there. The name brand dresses. Let me tell you where they start. They start at $600. These dresses start out at six. No, let me take that back. They start out at 4 and go all the way up to 600. Okay. If you go to the middle tier, because that's the high tier, when you go to the middle tier, they're at 250 for one of these dresses. Okay. 250. Same kind of style and everything. The style is the same. Not the design, but the style is the same. I'm just saying. That I fall up under, I'm in between the middle tier. There's a tier lower than mine where my dresses are, but I'm like in the middle, right at we have the high, middle, then we right here. Okay. So, and I definitely believe in my dresses. I would not sit here and tell you I don't. That's why I make sure they come to me first. Because if there's an issue with it, I don't want you to deal with that part. I deal with that. Okay? If you order your dress, it comes here first, and then I ship them out. They don't directly go ship to anybody. I don't do that. I like to see, I like to inspect. It's not about control, it's about quality. Okay, I'm not trying to control anything. I need to know because it's got my name on it. It's got V1 on it. And you got to make sure everything is the way it needs to be. So it comes to me first. Drop shipping is great, but I'd rather touch and make sure everything is like it's supposed to be before I mail it out. And like I said, if there's any problems, I can take care of those problems and then let you know what's going on with your product and then get it back to you, to get it to you. Yeah. So if you want to, okay. Now, over on You Can't Glue My Wings, because they're over there too, the sizes, if you wanted to, let's talk sizes. So we go from extra small, okay, to 5 extra large. This is a 3X. I usually wear between the 2X and the 3X. I didn't want a 2X, so I got the 3X. And it's always good to go a size bigger than what you are in order to get what you want. Most of the time, you go a size up. So even though I wear 2X, I went for the 3X. And these dresses are 3Xs, and I love them. They're comfortable. Don't take much. You can hand wash them in cold water, or you can machine wash them. It doesn't have to take any type of heavy detergent or anything like that on them. You can hang them up to dry, or you can throw them in the dryer. If you want them wrinkle free, throw them in the dryer once you wash them. I do wash it, throw it in the dryer, pull it up, put it on the tanger, and go on about my business. Or put it on, wear it. I'm just saying they're easy and they're gorgeous. All right. So I am going to say thank you guys for hanging out with us here on Talk Shop Live. Um, I'm just like excited. I want to see what everything's going to be. You guys, let me tell you, this is about you. Okay. This is strictly about you. Okay. We want to see a better you, and you got to want to see a better you. And remember, what you leave behind is very, very important. It's very important. And that doggone affirmation, that belongs on the t-shirt. Ding! A light went off my head. I'm going to put that on a doggone t-shirt. I like that affirmation. So yeah, tell yourself who you are. The other affirmation we talked about, it said what? I am the legacy. I am the proof. That's another one that's awesome. You're like, what do you mean by that? Just what it says. I am the walking proof of what I believe in within myself. Yeah, that's basically what he was saying. So you got 2 of them you like, right? All right, you guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you, Miss Dixon. Thank you for each and every one of you guys who are watching me, because I can't see where you're watching me at from this end over here. But I want to thank you guys. I want you guys to have a great evening. Remember, start your ritual this week, okay? Start your ritual. I can't even say the word ritual this week. I'm going to go. Now I'm just going to tease y'all, right? I'm going to go have me some seafood gumbo. Um, yeah, that's what I'm about to have. So you guys have a great night, and bye-bye. Mm. Do, 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 do.